And off we go, ladies and gentlemen. Good Wednesday morning to you, upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. What up, world? Great to be with you. Going ham at 9 a.m. This is the Rob Brown Show. Right here on the Fan Upstate. What's happening, y'all? How's everybody? Hope you're living the dream. I am, because I am working alongside the greatest producer in the history of radio, ladies and gentlemen.
You can count that as one against me. That beats two. Yeah, no, it's my fault. It's my fault. I'm good with it.
I want you to know I went perfect last week when you weren't here.
No, it didn't.
Perfect.
No, it didn't.
Ask T2.
No, it didn't.
No, I didn't say it. I said I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't care about everything. I just care about myself, Lonzo.
Okay.
I went perfect last week.
I'm sure you did, because you had to be a little more on your toes.
I absolutely did.
Yeah, so, yeah.
That's the great one. That's the Alpha and the Omega, the Fan Upstate. Colonel Grudge, hashtag Dad Kicks. He is the professor of perfection, the wizard of wave, the sultan of swag. Lonzo, what's up, buddy?
You can call me Snotty today. I'm down with that.
Still?
Yes.
I need you to stop.
Yeah, I need me to stop too. So I feel like slightly, out of it like Jeff Hardy today. So, but not in that way,
I was going to say, I feel like you feel nothing like Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, but I mean, the disoriented, where am I, a step behind, that type of thing.
Wednesdays.
No, if I was Jeff Hardy, I'd be at home right now.
We're going to talk about that tomorrow in Fight Club, I bet. I'm willing to guess. Also, Rashad Beard of the Panther Nation podcast will join us on tomorrow's show, and no shortage of stuff to talk about with him that we'll get into today. Because, ladies and gentlemen, and the rest of you that are Carolina Panthers fans, according to reports out of the Queen City, apparently the Panthers are now back in the mix and back in trade talks with the Cleveland Browns to acquire one Baker Mayfield. They are still working out a deal with Seatown to find out exactly how much of the salary of Baker Mayfield that the Panthers will be responsible for, and how much of the salary that the Browns will stay on the hook for. And it's not like this is unprecedented. It's not even like this is unprecedented for the Panthers themselves. Remember, when they sent Teddy BH2O out to Denver to take over in the Mile High City, he was owed $10 million for last year. $10 million. The Panthers paid 7 of that. The Broncos picked up 3 of Teddy BH2O's $10 million owed. So the Panthers are very familiar with a team that is in a position that they have to pay a quarterback that's not actually on their roster. And that's what they're trying to work out with the Browns. And we'll lead off with this, because I have been saying for a hot minute, this is the path of action that the Panthers need to take. This is the direction that the Panthers need to go. This is the guy that they need starting next year. Lonzo, today, Baker or Sam, who you want starting next year?
Baker, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Rob, the Panthers got a lot of money wrapped up in quarterbacks already. Yes, I'm aware. I know that.
And there are certain players who say they don't want to play with Baker Mayfield on the Panthers roster.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And it's fun. It's cute. That's the thing you say when you've already got your guy that you're trying to build rapport with, right? If you are dating the 7 who is the girl next door, and she says, "Would you leave me for that supermodel a town over?" You say what? "No, babe, of course not. Of course not. I'm perfectly happy in our relationship. I love you. I love us. There's no way that I would want to date that girl. I'm dating the best girl in the world." But you and everybody else in America knows that if you are single and the supermodel from the neighborhood over asks you on a date, you are falling out of your life to say, "Yup, I will pick you up at 7. I don't care who it is. If Bake shows up and Bake is tapped as the starting quarterback, the team's going to rally on that. everybody not named Sam Darnold.
You bring him in, you say there's going to be a competition, he's going to win the competition. Whether you want to follow the narrative that says that Baker Mayfield's not that good of a football player, you need to look at his record. You need to look at what he's done, especially last year when he was hurt the entire season. That's the kind of guy you want to be there because he's gonna tough it out and he's going to give you all he has.
Baker Mayfield, given the quarterbacks that are options for Carolina, is the best option. All right? Again, keep in mind, I wanted Sam Darnold to be good. I needed Sam Darnold to be good. I projected on this radio show, this award-winning radio show, that I thought Sam Darnold would be good. I thought if Sam escaped the New York Jets, a dumpster fire organization, if he got out from under the thumb of Adam Gase, a bad football coach, that Sam Darnold would have the opportunity to break out. And I based that on Ryan Tannehill and what he did. Because people said the same things about him at Miami. And when he finally escaped the Adam Gase black hole, he shows up to Tennessee, and Tennessee has been making playoff runs since then. And Ryan Tannehill was comeback player of the year caliber. So I projected Darnold to be good. I would have looked like like more of a brilliant man had Sam Darnold worked out and been the guy. But he didn't. And he's not. And the Panthers are now having to face that reality. Because they are now having to face that reality, they also need to face the reality that of the 5 quarterbacks that are options right now, 5 QBs that are options, 5 QBs would be on the roster if Baker shows up. And if that is the case, Bake's the best one. They'd have Mayfield, Darnold, Corral, Walker, and Cheeks. Yes, Cheeks. Cheeks.
Cheeks?
Cheeks.
Where did Cheeks play?
Davis, sorry, it's just Cheek. Just the one cheek.
Ah, okay.
He's from Elon. A 6'3", 215-pound rookie. Davis Cheek.
Elon used to be the Fighting Christians, if I recall, and then they changed the name.
I do not, unfortunately, have a vast knowledge of Elon University trivia ready to go. Let's pull up that Wikipedia page.
Yes, they used to be the Fighting Christians.
There you go. They are now the...
Phoenix, I think?
Let's see here. I'm looking it up. I'll have to find it. Let's see. Up until 2000, the mascot of Elon was the Fighting Christian. Early Elon athletic teams were known as the Christians, with the name Fighting Christians gaining popularity by 23. The nickname was chosen due to Elon's proximity to Wake Forest Demon Deacons, the Guilford Quakers, and the Duke Blue Devils. As Elon committed itself to diversity and the number of non-Christian students increased, the decision was made to change Elon's mascot. In 2000, a new mascot was adopted, the Phoenix. The choice came from the 1923 fire that destroyed almost the entire campus and the college's subsequent recovery. So there you go. You know something about Elon University that you did not know today.
See, and I already knew that.
Except for Lonzo.
And I don't know why, you know.
Except for Lonzo. Lonzo already knew that. The man's brilliant. What do you want? Anyway, the discussion has been picking up for the last week or so, according to reports out of Charlotte, including the article that I saw earlier today. Jaron Muller from Browns Wire also wrote. He also pointed out, and Lonzo referred to this just mere minutes ago because he's ahead of the curve, that on June 11th of the year 2022, ladies and gentlemen, that was 4 days ago, Robbie Anderson at Chosen1RA on Twitter, Robbie Anderson tweeted out, as these talks were getting hyper, quote, ain't gonna lie thinking about, nope, not about, ain't gonna lie thinking about retiring, with the T in thinking and the R in retiring both capitalized because reasons?
He's trying to be like Cam, not all the way.
No, Cam puts up Instagram posts like he a damn alien.
Yes. So maybe he's transitioning.
Here's my question for Cam's Insta post with his Martian language. And again, remember, Zoe and I are both Cam fans. We both want to see that guy succeed. But Cam's Instagram post. Do you think, Zoe, that he has does he tell someone else what he wants to say and they spend the time hunting through the iPhone keyboard to find all the different fonts? Or does he have a software program that he types in what he wants to say, and then that program substitutes letters for other things that look kind of like the same letters but aren't?
It's the Cam bet. Yeah, he's already got that design. I mean, he's got cash, so he said, "Hey, this is what I want to do," and they designed the program for him. Because no one's going to take the effort to go through and go, "Okay, let me do this here." I mean, how long would that take?
Let's see here. Lonzo, I just found a website that officially allows you to type in words and then receive it back in Cam Newton font.
Told you.
I apologize to you all, ladies and gentlemen, but the rest of my social media posts for the day will all be sent in Cam Newton font at this point. Why? Because it's funny.
Now the question is, did that program come out before Cam or after Cam?
Well, it's literally
or because of Cam.
It is called the Cam Newton Instagram font converter, and it is literally a software piece, a code that someone wrote.
Yeah, but did Cam have it commissioned? That's my question.
I don't know. What I do know is that I'm going to have a lot of fun with this, messing with people who don't know why I'm doing it. You can watch it's actually kind of cool. It's got the code at the top. As you type, you can watch the code write itself to convert your font. Ladies and gentlemen, you can all now write social media posts in nearly unintelligible gibberish. I like it.
As opposed to the wonderfully written things that you normally put out there. Yes.
Well, that's offensive. True, but offensive.
I meant in general, not just you.
Oh, I thought you meant me.
I meant all of us.
Fair. All right, so if you're not listening to the show right now, well, you won't get this message, but you're going to be very confused about my Twitter post later today. Because I'm going to do as many as I can in this font. Up to and including Game 1 of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals tonight. I may tweet all the way through the Stanley Cup Finals in Cam Newton font. How many followers do I lose today? About 1,000?
Or maybe people recognize and think, wow, man, Rob's made it. Cam has taken over his Instagram for tonight.
So the rumor is that the Panthers have hyped up their talk to the Browns about Baker. It may, underlined, capitalized, bolded, and italicized, may have prompted at Chosen1RA to send out a tweet, say, ain't gonna lie, thinking about retiring. Which would make sense, right? Because Chosen1RA was very skeptical and critical of Baker Mayfield earlier in this offseason when those discussions started coming up. So we'll see. But as I've said a number of times, who is it that I think would be the best option available for the Carolina Panthers? And I'm not just talking on the field. If money's no issue, the answer is Jimmy G. I know my dude Rashad don't love it. If money is no object, Jimmy G's the guy. He's been to NFC Championship games. He's done it. He knows it. He knows how to get there. But money is an object. And the upside of Baker comes with about a quarter of the cost of Jimmy Garoppolo if you can negotiate well with the Browns. And I think the Browns are desperate. So make the move. By the way, Lonzo, On September 11th, Carolina plays at home for the first time. Do you know who their opponent is in week 1?
Cleveland.
It's the Cleveland Browns. Telling me you don't want Baker to show up and show out for that. Get it done. Get him in camp yesterday. Get him working out with Chosen One RA. Get him in camp to start learning his squad so that he can go out there and put about 45 on the Browns in week 1.
So if you are thinking about going to a Panther game and you can only afford to go to one, do you take a chance right now and go ahead and buy a ticket for this game, hoping that the trade happens, and how much hype there's going to be for this game?
I mean, opening day against the Browns, and even the 25% possibility that Baker Mayfield is your starting quarterback against his old team that he hates now, might not be a bad investment. Might not be a bad investment. All right, let's do this. Let's take a break. We'll talk more about that, get deeper into that later on in the show. But got a bunch of other stories to get into today, including what we'll talk about next. The NCAA has had a big-time sit-down with a major Miami booster. Why? Because this booster is heavily involved in NIL opportunities, including a pair that brought 2 of the most highly sought-after basketball transfers to the Canes program. What does it mean? I'll give you some thoughts when we come back. My name is Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, in the pilot's chair. We are back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. All right, stream hitting a live. Be right back.
Finally ran out. Yay. I know, because the faucet is turned back on. But I cannot take said medication at work because I will just be
Fall
asleep
on the board.
like I, did for the majority of yesterday evening. And then it was like 2:30 when the medication ran out and the faucet turned back on, and I got up and took my medication. There's got to be some sort of allergy medication that can just, well, for one thing, make me speak like I'm not, medicated. And the other thing is, not make you sleepy.
Enjoy the taste of summer too, with amazing hand-tossed pies, cool, crisp salads, and over 100 beers from around the world. Mellow Mushroom, 1 Augusta Street in Greenville's West End.
Proof I'm not feeling well. I didn't comment on the boss's shorts.
Is he wearing shorts?
They're something I could see you wearing, probably. I mean,
Now I have to go talk to him later
They're-
just to
yeah.
see. All right, real quick before I get to the Miami story, let me address Tiger pal Rachel, who tweeted into the show. She said, I could get behind Baker, but do you think that's a better plan than what you said last week? Sign Cam and let Matt Corral grow into QB1. Also, how do the Browns not keep Baker? Clearly, Deshaun is going to be suspended. Couple of reasons. Number one, Rachel, you ever stayed in a relationship that you didn't want to be in anymore for whatever reason, right? You stayed in it for the kids, or you stayed in it because you had a place to live and you'd have to find a new place to live if you moved out, or
your boss made you.
or your boss made you. If you've ever stayed in a relationship you didn't want to be in, you and I both know you did not give everything that you could have given, right? You held back. You kept for you what you could keep for you. You put in just enough effort to keep the situation afloat. The Browns know that's where Baker is. He don't want to be there, right? He don't want to be there. He's in a relationship he doesn't want to be in, so you're not going to get anywhere near the best of him. Now, you can maybe make the argument that Baker would go out there and try to have a career year to earn a big... that was bad timing, huh? A bigger contract than he otherwise... I'm a broadcast professional, ladies and gentlemen. A bigger contract.
It's my fault. I had turned around. If I was around, I could have covered for you. I did not.
That's all good.
It's all my fault. I apologize.
Yeah, Lonzo made me cough.
I'll do better.
Baker could go out there and have a fire year to earn a bigger contract when his contract ends at the end of the year. But realistically speaking, that's not likely the case.
I was watching reports earlier that said that for a voluntary minicamp, they ask him not to come.
Yeah.
So if you're asking a player not to come, you don't want them on your team anymore. Right now, it's just a matter of trying to figure out how to, negotiating price to get rid of them. And man, it looks bad on Cleveland.
That was the NFL equivalent of, why don't you sleep in the guest room for a few weeks, right?
I'm not saying you have to leave yet.
Right.
Just while you transition.
Right. Why don't you, while you're looking for a new place to live, go sleep in the guest room for a few weeks? That's what this is, right? That's what this is. And yes, I want Cam to be successful, but I'd take Baker over Cam, especially if you can get the Browns to pick up half of his salary, right? If you can get the Cleveland Browns to pick up $10 million off his salary, you're getting him at a steal. But do remember, and this is why I also like this for the Panthers, unless Baker comes in and just loves what you're doing at Carolina, Baker Mayfield is a rental, right? He's a rental. He's got 1 year on his contract. He is not going to sign an extension, I would not think, unless that's part of his deal to get out, right? Unless the Panthers go, we'll bring you here, we've agreed with the Browns, and Baker goes, I'm only in on that. But I don't think he has a no-trade clause, so it wouldn't matter. So he's not going to sign an extension. It's a 1 year rental. And if it is a 1 year rental, that gives you 1 year of Baker doing what Baker can do to dominate the league so he can get a fat stack next year, and gives you that 1 year of Baker giving Matt Corral time to learn the speed of the NFL. It works out great. It really does. All right, let me get to this Miami story real quick, because I'm assuming it's probably going to take some bit of time. The NCAA's enforcement staff sat down with a man named John Ruiz down in the Coral Gables area.
Wait. So the NCAA's enforcement staff,
Correct.
do they have like nightsticks and riot gear? I mean, what do they look like?
In my head, they do. Black suits, and when they push a button, like two of those sticks, like in Jurassic Park, they used to the raptors with,
Yeah.
come falling out of the sleeves. You know,
Like the equivalent of a cattle prod, but
Yeah.
it's I know what you're talking about.
the NCAA's enforcement staff sat down with John Ruiz. John Ruiz is a Miami Hurricanes mega booster. At least that's what he was called.
He got
by
cash,
David
yo.
Cobb.
He got lots of cash, yo.
Yep, straight cash, homie. Mega booster. John Ruiz is part of an NCAA inquiry into NIL practices. He talked to CBS Sports' Dennis Dodd, told them that they have met a few times over the past several months. The attorney confirmed to CBS Sports' Dennis Dodd that they visited him last week as the NCAA enforcement organization tries to gain a foothold in policing NIL deals as a means of pay for play in the college landscape. That's how David Cobb of Yahoo Sports put it. Sorry, CBS Sports put it. Ruiz told CBS Sports that he would like to see schools approve entities involved in NIL deals. That is to say, schools effectively having organizations that want to offer NIL deals have to be approved via the NCAA. The probe into the Hurricanes comes after the NCAA Division I Board of Directors issued broadened guidance last month that can define collectives that facilitate NIL deals for prospects as boosters. That is to say, organizations like, and we've talked about them, the Garnet Trust over in Columbia. It's an organization of boosters that have come together effectively to help facilitate NIL deals to athletes on the campus of the University of South Carolina. Ruiz said the interviews were, quote, very forward and clean cut, nothing to be alarmed about at all. They were very professional, very positive, end quote. Ruiz said that they had multiple meetings. He runs a health company called Life Wallet. Now, Life Wallet made major waves back in April when they facilitated a 2-year, $800,000 NIL deal for Kansas State basketball player Nigel Pack, who remains the number 2 transfer of the offseason market. Life Wallet also reportedly helped arrange the deal for Arkansas State transfer Norched Omier, who ranks number 14 in the transfer ratings. The NCAA's guidance on NIL and clarification that collectives can be classified as boosters also carried a warning. The NCAA said it could review prior cases, quote, to pursue only those actions that are clearly contrary to the published interim policy, including the most severe violations of recruiting rules or payment for athletic performance, end quote. So I'll start with this. If we're going letter of the law to be obnoxious, payment for athletic performance. If we're talking about this like we're trying to put this in front of a judge, which we're not, but if we're talking about like we are, I'm going to make the argument that this is not payment for athletic performance. They haven't performed yet. Now, Lonzo's counter argument I'm going to go ahead and make for him is, right, but they are coming to perform athletically at the University of Miami. And would they have ended up there if Life Wallet did not orchestrate an $800,000 2-year NIL deal on the campus of Coral Gables? The answer is, I don't know. We can assume not.
Don't make me go back to my corner analogy. Because once money is put out there, services will be rendered when you get to your destination.
I mean, he's playing basketball for the Miami Hurricanes, so yeah. That is correct. But again, letter of the law says you cannot pay a kid to come to your school. Is it the same thing to say, if you come to this school, you will get paid? Have at, Zoe. Pop that bad boy. Let's go.
No, what's the difference? I mean, there is no difference. You're saying the same thing. How are you not saying the same thing?
If I was to say that we are going to hire an intern for $100,000 a year versus
I'd say it's time for me to be an intern.
if I said I was going to hire an intern for $100K a year, that is different than going to a friend of mine and going, I will give you $100,000 a year if you come intern. Those are different things. They may not feel like it, but they are different things. If I put out a blanket statement saying, it's like any job. When a job is listed, the job is listed as, you come here and do this job, we will compensate you with X thousands of dollars per year to do it. That is not the same as going to a guy and saying, if you come do this job, we will give you X amount of thousands of dollars per year. Basically, what Life Wallet and John Ruiz and people in the NIL camp are going to argue is, we are not offering kids, individuals. Let me rephrase that. We are not offering individuals $800,000 a year. We are simply saying that if you play here, there's a chance you could make $800,000 a year.
There's a chance?
There's a chance.
What's that mean? What's that mean? If you play here, there's a chance. Do certain things have to be met in order for you to get the money?
But I guess that's up to the person putting the NIL down, right?
This is so shady, dude. It's so shady.
It's not shady. It's pretty damn straight up. It is what it is.
The wording is shady. It's all the whole thing is shady. It just is.
I don't agree that
the
it's
door's
shady.
been open. There's no stopping
Here's
this.
what I think
even
it
if
is.
you are a member of the NCAA enforcement wing.
Dun, dun, dun. I don't think it's shady. I think it's pretty straightforward. I think you don't like it. And I think it's easy to cast
You know,
shade
the part
on things you don't like.
part I don't like is the fact that it's shady. That's the part I don't like. I mean, to straight up say, hey, we're going to pay you if you come here. We're going to get the best players because we have the most money. Just go ahead and say that, because that's what you're saying, but you're changing words just a little bit, enough to where it's, hey, you come over here and we take care of you. That's what it sounds like.
Every NIL booster is now a low-level 1940s New York mobster. Hey.
There probably are some in there.
Hey. I got my hair slicked back. I got this gold necklace on. You could have the same if you come down to Miami. Hey. Forget about it. Yeah, I mean, look. Like I said, I think it's straightforward. You just don't like it. And when I say you, I mean the royal you, not just Lonzo, though he is in that group. It is the royal you. People who don't like it are going to say it's shady, as most of us do with things we don't like. If we don't like a thing, we cast the negative light on it. If you do like a thing, you don't. To me, this is a kid who played his A off at K-State. This is a kid who, via effort, got himself recognized as one of the best available players in the transfer market. This is a kid who, via work and basketball, got himself recognized for a company to go, it is valuable for that kid to be playing at my school, and it is valuable for that kid to be repping my brand.
This is the Bill Clinton, depends on what is. That's all this is. Depends on what is. Just come out and say, we're going to pay you if you come, because you're saying that. And then you're trying to change the words around to make it look like you're not doing that when everyone knows that's exactly what you're doing.
That depends on what your definition of the word is.
Not bad. You need a little more draw.
Do you follow Monica Lewinsky on Twitter? She is
No.
hilarious, dude.
Should I?
Yes. She is genuinely funny.
By the way, I try to stay away from anything political, period, on either side.
Oh, she's like
as
a
far
damn
as
stand-up comedian
as
now.
far as Twitter goes, and
She's hilarious. All right, anyway. Trey said that was a good Tony D'Angelo impression.
See, you need to watch more NXT. Yeah, the dawn of NXT. His family's growing.
We're not paying the player. We're paying for his name, image, and likeness to be at our school.
You're paying the player.
Look, the kid put in a lot of work to be an eligible student athlete and to be a basketball
Stop with
player.
the student athlete thing. You're a paid employee.
Is he a student?
I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know if he goes to class. We both been in college. We know how that works.
All of the requirements of school are still in place. Those didn't go anywhere. You still have to be a student. Is he an athlete?
Definitely an athlete. That's what he's getting
Student
paid
athlete.
for.
He is a student athlete
Okay.
who may make money on the side.
Maybe he's a student of the game
But
that
he's
he's
a
playing.
student athlete who I would even be so far. I would be willing to say he is a student athlete who is also an employee of other organizations.
More shady word games. That's the whole thing. Just come right out and say, this is what we're doing.
No, your definition's bad. He is not an employee. The school is not paying him to play
Oh,
basketball.
yes. But we've had this discussion before. He is an employee of the people paying
Right.
him money.
But he's still a student. That doesn't take away the student athlete part of it. I work here in radio and I get paid for it. It does not mean that I am not a motorcycle rider, right? Those are different entities. Those are different things that I do.
You're
They're separate
taking
from each other.
advantage of me by using analogies that I just can't go against right now because my brain will not function well enough. On a good day, I might have a shot at it. Today, I do not.
All right, we'll save this for next week. We'll circle back around in next week when Lonzo's back to normal.
Oh, I hope next week is back to normal.
Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line 71307 says, "Fan, NIL's open season. The schools don't have to pay. They just line up a booster to pay." I mean, again,
Yeah, but they're not supposed to line up a booster. I thought, according to the rules, they're not supposed to have anything to
right.
do
And
with
that's,
that.
that's where I was going, was not really. Not really. Here's what they can do. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Rob Brown. I'm the head coach of XYU University. I'm glad you all came out to this booster dinner this evening. We've got a couple of things we want to tell you about. First and foremost, we are going to be building a new indoor practice facility. We need to raise funds for that. So if you'd like to donate, scan this QR code and punch in your contribution. Also, and I'm telling you this for no particular reason at all, just because you are loyal, passionate fans and we want you to have the most up-to-date information, there is a 5-star QB out of Columbus, Georgia that we would really like to have here. And we are working our butts off to recruit that kid. We have sent coaches. We have sent gift baskets. We have schmoozed his mama. We have sent talent evaluators to every one of his high school games. We really, really want this kid here. We really want him to be a Blankenot or whatever our school mascot is. We really want him to be here. We want him to be a part of this team. We happen to know that he's got NIL offers from other schools in the neighborhood of $800,000 a year. I reference that for no specific or detailed reason at all. All I'm saying to you, the valued members of the XYZU Booster Club and Collective, is that we really, 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 really hope that kid ends up here. Anyway, have a great day. Remember, I did not give you any directives at all today.
Of course, you can't see
Thanks
the
for
visual while said university head Rob Brown is talking. He's got both hands up and fistful of dollars, just doing this.
No, I can
Just
have
shaking
it
them
all.
back and forth like a Polaroid picture.
I can. Coming up next on the show, Lonzo does Outcast. Can't wait for that.
Hey, yeah, it's time for a break.
Sorry, Miss Jackson. Woo. We are so late. Got to take this next break. All right, I'm done. That was terrible. I apologize. All right, let's take that break. We'll talk more about this. Your thoughts are welcome. Hit me up. Preferred Home Services text line 71307 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, and we'll read them on the air. You can also give us a buzz, 844-FAN phone, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. We got plenty more to get when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Hey, Sean, welcome back, buddy. Good to have you, man. Missed you the last few days, pal. Glad you're here. Sincerely, thank you. Steven, what's up, big dog? I need you to know, specifically you, Steven, Lonzo on the side. The Madre is coming into town tomorrow. And so tomorrow, she has requested that we go see Top Gun. So me, her, and the lady friend will go see Top Gun tomorrow. So Friday, we can talk about it.
Your mom's going to love it.
I believe it. I believe it.
Demographically, your mom's going to love it.
Lots of shirtless 50-year-old men.
Well, there's only one.
Is there a shirtless volleyball scene?
No, they've replaced.
There's not?
They've replaced it with another sport that we dearly love.
Curling. Football? There's a beach football scene.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
Volleyball would have been a little on the nose.
It will never top the best beach football scene of all time.
What?
Point Break,
Okay, fair enough.
where ex-Ohio State quarterback Johnny Utah. The only actor that I know who's played an ex-Ohio State quarterback in 2 different movies.
I'm trying to think of where a movie Shane Falco. No, where does Shane Falco play?
Played at Ohio State.
Ohio State. Okay.
Johnny
Adam
Utah
Sandler
played
and
at
Bobby
Ohio
Shard
State.
played at Florida State. I'm trying to think of who. The kid from Varsity Blues was going to Florida State before he blew his knee up. I need other famous movie quarterbacks.
Not the Mox, but the guy he replaced.
Yeah. I need other famous movie quarterbacks and where they went to school. Where did Jamie Foxx's character go to school?
That's a good question.
What is that? Any Given Sunday?
What about Heaven Can Wait? Did you ever see that?
Willie Steeman Beeman.
I don't know if they mentioned Warren Beatty's college in Heaven Can Wait. It was a 1978 movie,
I
so
just Googled Willie Steeman Beeman, and there are people on Facebook genuinely named Willie Beeman.
of course, that's how that works. You name your kids something that,
I mean, but you like
ask Cameron about that. He knows who he was named after.
Cameron Diaz, obviously.
No, Cameron from Ferris Bueller.
Cameron Fry. I get told I look like Cameron Fry a bunch. When
I haven't seen you without the beard enough.
you've
Only in
seen me
pictures.
without the beard, never.
Pictures.
Oh, fair.
I stalk you and just go back and and look at all your pictures from every social media. Actually, some people out there probably do that. I agree, Trey. Uncle Rico should have been the best quarterback.
Uncle Rico.
What's his name from Married with Children? Oh,
Al Bundy.
Yeah, he
From
never
West
made it to
College.
college though. Yeah,
But he did rush for 3 touchdowns in the state championship
he
game.
did do that without a doubt. Tayshawn, this is not an excuse, but I try not to watch movies that could happen in real life or have happened in real life. I prefer fantasy.
I've heard that movie is really good.
I'm sure it is. No.
Total Wine and More has the best Father's Day gifts at the best prices. Dad, at Total Wine and More, you'll always love what you
So we got into a discussion over the break of famous movie and TV quarterbacks and where they all went to college. You know, fictionally, obviously. Now I got to ask the question. Aside from the obvious answer of Uncle Rico, who's the best fictional quarterback of all time? Who is the best fictional quarterback of all time besides Uncle Rico?
Do you actually see them play on the movie? Or is it just you're told about how good they are?
I know why you're asking.
Well, no, I think
You're asking
it's
for
necessary.
Flash Gordon.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
asking for Flash Gordon, defender of the universe. Ah!
Yeah, now the song is in my head.
You're welcome. Flash. Ah! Flash Gordon,
Something
New
about
York
that Dale
Jets
Arden, though.
quarterback.
When you're a teenager, Del Arden was nice. Or Aura, I think was her name, the Ming's daughter.
Johnny Utah from Point Break's in that discussion. Shane Falco. Is Shane Falco in the discussion? Shane Falco was a replacement quarterback. Couldn't even make the active roster. He
Yeah.
just had a couple of good games.
Because he had injuries.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Johnny Utah.
Right, but like
I don't know if it was the same injury though. That would
we
be
don't
weird.
we don't do that with other quarterbacks. We're not like, oh, that guy was one of the greats if it wasn't for those pesky injuries. Like Shane Falco couldn't make an active roster, and once he did, played like 4 games and was a bartender.
Look at the offensive line he had. Could you have done well behind that? Shane Falco did. Had a good defense though.
Had a great defense. Shane Falco might be top 10, right? Might be top 10.
All right, so you're kind of alluding to my bias. Of course, I have bias towards Falco and Utah because they both played for Ohio State.
Not only did Keanu Reeves play quarterbacks in multiple movies, but he picked OSU to rep both times.
I got to tell you, genuine pop in the theater, both movies
I believe it entirely.
in Ohio.
Believe it entirely.
In Ohio, genuine pop.
Believe it entirely. Here's one that I just got texted that I would not have thought about. How about Stan Gable from Revenge of the Nerds?
Really?
According to Revenge of the Nerd canon, the Los Angeles Rams selected Gable in the second round of the 1985 draft.
Even after he was humiliated and had his girlfriend stolen and all that stuff.
Frank Cushman from Jerry Maguire. Cap Rooney from it. How does Cap go ahead of Steamin' Willie Beeman on this list? No way. Cap was good. But
Notice,
Willie Beeman was a different level.
I mean, the seriousness of the movie, the movies, the quarterbacks, the less serious, the more memorable, I think.
Oh, sure. Steamin' Willie Beeman's in there. How about, I mean, if you're going to go longest yard, you got to go to the OG Paul Wrecking Crew, who played his college ball at
Florida State.
That is right. Why? Because he was rep by Burt Reynolds, who played his college ball at
Florida State.
That is correct. Great running back till he got his legs blowed up. You can take either Paul Wrecking Crew. I looked it up. There's a bunch of movies I have not seen. Heaven Can Wait. You ever seen that?
Yeah, I mentioned that in the during the break. That was Warren Beatty. He was a quarterback. He died, and then he was reincarnated as a rich dude. So he ended up buying a football team and made himself the starting quarterback.
Love it. Imagine being reincarnated as me and trying to do that again.
That movie was remade, and I forget. I want to say it was Sandler, but it may not have been. It was remade and somebody else.
Joe Kingman as portrayed by The Rock in the movie The Game Plan, where he QB the Boston Rebels. Never seen that. The Best of Times. You ever seen The Best of Times? Kurt Russell played a quarterback named Reno Hightower.
Yeah, that's. Did that have Rob Williams in it?
Yes, it did.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, it did. Hightower said he was pretty good for around here, was a talented high school quarterback who lacked the. They had Kurt Russell playing a high school quarterback in his early 40s. Nope. Lance Harbor from Varsity Blues, portrayed by Paul Walker. Harbor was the QB of West Canaan High School, was going to go to Florida State, if I recall correct. Do Florida State and Ohio State have the two most high-profile, or I should say amount of high-profile fictional quarterbacks attributed to them? I got to say, yeah, right?
It is weird. And all the weird, I keep wanting to say villain, all the weird criminal stories that we get from both Ohio and Florida. I don't know if those kind of go together or not.
You know, there's a reason for that. Do you know that?
Yeah, you've told me
you
about
did.
this.
You work on the news station. Of course you know this. Have you ever seen School Ties? David Green was the quarterback in School Ties, portrayed by America's favorite person, Brendan Fraser.
It sounds familiar. Was it like in the late 80s, early 90s?
It looks like it. It also had Chris O'Donnell, Matt Damon, and Ben Affleck in it. Now I got to find this movie. Green was a highly sought-after prep star to the point he had a private school in New England, ignored his religious affiliation to bring him in from Pennsylvania. Green showed great leadership and an uncanny ability to make unusual plays. Green went on to Harvard, and though past experiences made him reluctant to play football again, he became the team's starting QB during his sophomore season, but did not go on to play in the NFL. Did the movie directors write this?
If I recall, it's kind of the upper crust kind of hazing thing. You brought in the guy that's not supposed to be there.
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude and interrupt. But apparently there was a movie called Johnny Be Good.
Absolutely. Johnny Be Good with
Michael Anthony Hall.
Anthony Michael Hall. Totally
Whatever.
different guy. And it also had Robert Downey Jr. as the backup quarterback.
The nerd kid from the Brat Pack.
By the way, look at it. He beefed up.
Did he really? I have to find this.
We hadn't mentioned beef yet today, so yeah.
Freaking beef. All right. Who's the best fictional quarterback of all time? Tally him in on the text line 71307. We'll answer when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Johnny Be Good at its time was pretty funny and probably pretty accurate. It really parodied what people think still what college football is like. I mean, he's getting treated so much by boosters and everything. I think if I recall, he ends up not going where they want him to. Also, Tom Cruise in All the Right Moves.
Yep. Forgot about that one.
He does go to college, but I think he goes to a small college where the guy who plays coach in Coach ended up going to Coach College, I think.
You know what we do during the summertime? I'm going to write this down. Instead of ranking the best fictional football movies, we should build the best possible roster using only fictional movie players.
Here's
You get to pick them in their prime.
Here's a question though: can you use actual players who portray different people? I mean, because there's a lot of movies
be good with that.
like The Longest Yard where they
Yeah.
actually brought in pros.
But I mean, you got to go Bobby Boucher at strong side linebacker, right?
And
Like
then
the water
and then what's his name from The Replacements has got to be in there. The guy who's the director of the Star Wars and was Happy Hogan and I hate that I forget names, but I'm sick.
You pair Bobby Boucher and Bill Goldberg and Kevin Nash at linebacker. That's a pretty
Was Nash at
outstanding-
linebacker?
Wasn't he?
For some reason I thought he played like defensive end, but
Oh, there you go. He's Michael Irvin is Deacon Moss from
Right.
Longest Yard. He's in, right? Like, obviously.
John Favreau, thank you, Steven. I don't know why I cannot remember. I do know why. It's not. I can't. I come up with a ton of other things, but it
I
is
gotta tell you,
blocking me.
Oh, you're right. Kevin Nash was a defensive lineman. Brian Bosworth was a defensive back. But you got to play him in the position they played in
Right,
the movie. Like,
right.
I'm not picking the Boz as a DB, right? Like, great if I can move him to linebacker, but not as a DB. Stone Cold Steve Austin as a fullback. Terry Crews as a tight end. I might go for that. You might be able to talk me into the best tight end is Terry Crews.
Yeah, I mean, he's
He's a
going
monster.
He's going to initiate some hits for
Yeah.
sure.
Grab a water.
Same great show, new time. Now 9 to noon, only on the Fan Upstate.
This feature sponsored by Indeed. A shorthanded summer staff calls for Indeed. Their hiring platform helps attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Sponsor a job and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates.
Somebody was just walking down the hallway, whistling, but like bird calls. Not like whistling a tune, like.
It was probably Roger Davis.
Think so?
Yeah, I'm going to go Roger Davis. He's multi-talented.
John Favreau.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
What is this bleep? Don't know what that means.
What?
Nothing. I'm commenting on something I just heard on the air.
Heard my little sis is buying a car. You'll need my secret guide.
Gross, no way. I already use Capital One Auto Navigator.
I bet you're a
QC connects in first break.
So happy. I got my real rate and monthly payment, had an amazing test drive at the dealership, and made the purchase.
taking the easy way out. That's so you.
Still not getting it. That's so you. Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Do we want Bill Goldberg as a linebacker in that?
That's what he played. You said you got to go with. I see what you mean. I mean, but who's going to beat him out? That's a good point, Trey. But do you want Shazam as your quarterback? Because that's who's portraying him.
All right, I don't really want to give this away. Because while I have no doubt that this has been done 100 times on Sports Talk Radio, I've never done it before. And we'll save it for the summertime. Summertime.
Isn't it summertime now?
Well,
I
like,
I just like,
Post NHL, post NBA
okay,
Finals.
sometime in July.
You're talking, yeah, we're
Into
talking
July.
about July when all we have is baseball, right? Build the best possible football roster using only fictional football players from movies. You have to use them in the position that they played in the movie and in the shape they were in the movie. The only lock that we came up with during the break was Michael Irvin from The Longest Yard, who was obviously aged in that movie, but still Mike Irvin, was still skying. Could we come up with two better wide receivers than Michael Irvin in The Longest Yard? I don't know if we can. The quarterback one's going to be a competition. It's going to be hard for me not to pick Willie Beeman. I'm not going to lie. I don't even love The Longest Yard as a movie, or not The Longest Yard, Any Given Sunday as a movie. Like, it's good. It's not great, but it's good. But Willie Beeman might be my pick at quarterback. Bobby Boucher is an insta-pick at linebacker, right?
Yeah, we can completely agree on that,
Shoe-in.
for sure.
Boucher is a shoe-in. I think Mike Irvin is a shoe-in.
Do we also have to put in fictional coach? Because someone's got to.
Yeah, we can pick a fictional. You got to pick a fictional coach, and then you're starting 22 using only fictional characters from football movies.
So no special teams. We're not going to throw a kicker.
Nah, we
in
won't go
there.
special teams. I don't need to get into a breakdown of who the greatest fictional punter of all time was.
Well,
Sorry, McAfee. Love you, dog.
As Trey pointed out, Kathy Ireland for kicker because she was a kicker, but I can't remember
enough.
if that was college or not. I think it might have been.
You can use college or NFL players.
Okay.
Because like Bobby Boucher was a college linebacker, technically.
Well, he got drafted, but he decided to come back to school, if you remember. I forget what NFL team drafted him, but when Mama tackled his daddy at
Mama
the
said
end
alligators angry because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
and no toothbrush.
Boucher's a shoe-in. Mike Irvin is a shoe-in. Nelly's character as the running back in Longest Yard was pretty stout. I don't hate that. Wasn't Jim Rome in that movie? Jim Rome was in that movie, wasn't he? Him and Berman, I think, both were in that movie.
So you need to check out the original Longest Yard.
Bur Reynolds, man.
Not
saw
just
it years
not
ago.
just that. The guy who played Jaws in James Bond is a defensive guy, I think, and he broke someone's neck.
Oh, I've actually never seen the original Longest Yard.
Yeah.
May have to find that.
And in the remake, the Great Khali played that part.
See, Great Khali's too slow. Absolute monster. But I've seen him. I can't do it, even fictionally. I can't do Great Khali.
If you don't know who the guy who played Jaws was, he was also in Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, he's Frankenstein's fat foot.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we'll do that later in the summer. Ask for the best fictional quarterbacks, and we got votes for Shane Falco. Texas says Shane Falco is the only right answer.
Well, I completely agree.
No, Falco could not keep a roster
All right.
spot.
The only one close to Falco is Johnny Utah. But, you know.
Shocking that Zoki's picking the OSU guys. / Keanu Reeves over and over. Respect that. Answer. No, we can't answer.
No, we
anything.
can't.
Oh, man.
That counts. I just did it again. No, we can't count. When you get a phone call in the middle of a show and it says spam risk.
Yeah. I really wanted to hear what that was. All right. 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-FANFONE. Start building your roster now. That way when I spring it on you in a month, it won't be a surprise. Build your best fictional football roster utilizing only fictional football players from movies. Do we limit in movies? Can we bring in TV shows? Like Al Bundy's going to get some nominations. He rushed for 3 touchdowns in the high school state championship.
And that's pretty
game.
amazing. It absolutely is.
He got a vote on the text line already. Al Bundy at Polk High. All right. So there you go. That'll be
We're also fleshing out demographics here too, by the
we
way,
are.
because we can tell who's older and who's younger.
all right. Best fictional football roster made from movie characters. We'll do that in about a month. Start building yours now. I need some good ones. Some more stuff I want to get into in this hour of the show. Couple of bits of news for Clemson fans. One good, one bad. We'll start with the bad news first. Clemson has been really hot on the recruiting trail. 7 commitments this month, but yesterday received a bit of negative news. 4-star wide receiver Nathaniel Joseph announced via Instagram, because that's how news happens now, that he was decommitting from the Tigers after initially pledging on September 10th, one of the early pledges for the 2023 class that Clemson had. The Miami, Florida wide receiver is a slot guy, ranked number 105 overall, 16th ranked wide receiver in the 24/7 composite. He was the second 2023 recruit to decommit from Clemson following Texas tight end Reed McKiska, who left the fold back in mid-May, less than a month after he committed. Nathaniel Joseph posted on his Instagram account, quote, "After talking things over with my family, we feel it's best for me to decommit and reopen my recruitment. I want to thank Clemson and all of Clemson staff for showing me love day in and day out. I want to thank wide receiver coach Tyler Grisham for all the love he's shown me and for taking a chance on me. It was a hard decision for me to make, but some things took place that me and my family didn't like. Wonder what that is. So I'll be reopening my recruitment. Thank you, Clemson and Clemson fans. Recruitment 100% back open." Joseph has offers from like lots of places. His offer list includes South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame, Michigan, Oregon, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Mississippi, LSU, Florida, Louisville, Penn State, Kentucky, FSU, and Miami. So now Clemson finds themselves in a spot where they need to add another wide receiver. And I think most Clemson fans would tell you that that's got to be a position of priority, right? With the loss of guys like Justin Ross, wide receiver has got to be a priority, because it's one thing if DJ Uiagalelei comes out of his shell this year and plays better. It's another thing if Cade Klubnik turns in to be the guy that Clemson fans want him to be. Who's catching the ball? Who's catching the ball? Nathaniel Joseph was Clemson's second highest ranked recruit regardless of position and third highest position-wise amongst the 11 commits for the 23 class. Five-star quarterback Christopher Vizina is number 33 overall, sixth at his position. Linebacker Jamal Anderson, who committed earlier this week on Monday, is 11th at his position and 172nd overall in the overall recruiting rankings. Now, not all bad news at the wide receiver spot, though it is still a net loss. Clemson did add wide receiver Noble Johnson from Rockwall, Texas on Saturday, ranked number 383 overall and the number 45 receiver. The Tigers were ranked 8th in the team rankings prior to Joseph's announcement. They will likely fall down a couple of spots with that loss, but there is still work to be done. The Tigers are amongst the finalists for a pair of players scheduled to announce their college choices sometime today. Defensive lineman Vic Burley is the 40th overall ranked player and the 4th ranked defensive lineman in the game, a Georgia prospect who has a Final Four of Clemson, Georgia, Tennessee, and Michigan State. Safety Jalon Kilgore is the number 422nd ranked player and the 42nd ranked safety in the listings, a Georgia recruit with a Final Five consisting of Clemson, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Michigan, and Tennessee Tech. Both of those cats are expected to make their announcements later on today. On tomorrow's show, we will have you a rundown of who they selected. One of them in the mix for both Clemson and South Carolina, the other just in the mix for the Tigers. Now, for the good news question mark, I guess, Clemson has narrowed down their hunt for a new baseball coach, and athletics director Graham Neff has reportedly offered the job to Michigan coach Eric Bakich, and a deal could be announced as early as today. The 44-year-old took Michigan to the brink of its second consecutive super regional, though they were eliminated by Louisville in the Louisville regional. Michigan earned the Big Ten's automatic berth in the NCAA tournament and won its first two games before Louisville rallied for the championship. Bakich is a California native who played his ball at East Carolina and began his coaching career as a volunteer assistant at Clemson back in 2002. He was an assistant at Vandy from 2003 to 2009, then coached at Maryland before going to Michigan in 2013. He was the National Coach of the Year in 2019 after leading Michigan to 50 wins and a runner-up finish at the College World Series that year. Now, before Bakich was spotted as the likely head coach for the baseball team, Notre Dame's Link Jarrett had been previously regarded as the top choice, but the Fighting Irish are in the College World Series that begins Friday in Omaha. Keep in mind, by the way, this is pretty damn impressive if we're being honest. You know, I'm a realist at heart, but it is hard to argue with this. How about the fact that 4 of the 8 teams headed to Omaha, 4 of the 8 teams headed to Omaha are from the Southeastern Conference. 2 of the remaining 4 will be joining the SEC Conference. The SEC in the next couple of years. The only 2 non-SEC affiliated teams going to Omaha are Notre Dame and Stanford. By the way, according to DraftKings, the top 2 best odds to win the College World Series, both Notre Dame and Stanford, are plus 450. Texas, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Auburn, and Texas A&M. Arky, Ole Miss, Auburn, and A&M already in the SEC. Oklahoma and Texas are on their way. I do not give the Southeastern Conference credit they do not deserve. No, Ole Miss, you do not get to celebrate Georgia's national championship. But it is pretty freaking stout when you have 6 out of 8 teams either in or on their way to your conference. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. Anyway, back to Clemson. Link Jarrett was nominated as the top choice for the Clemson job. But because the Fighting Irish are still alive in the World Series, that recruitment had to be pushed back. In the while that Notre Dame was still active, Florida State has fired their head coach, Mike Martin Jr. Martin Jr. had taken FSU to the regionals a couple times, but just did not seem to be able to get his squad into the Supers or back to Omaha. So Mike Martin Jr., after 20-ish years at FSU, was released from his job. And now Link Jarrett, despite bringing his team to the NCAA tournament in Omaha, Nebraska, is apparently the odds-on favorite to be the new head coach at Florida State. Cliff Godwin of ECU was also thought of as a strong candidate. Remember, ECU had a really, really good finish to their year as well. Ran into a buzzsaw to get bounced, but the Pirates were as competitive as anybody else deep in the year. Of course, Monty Lee fired after 7 seasons. During the past 2, Clemson was a combined 60-50, 29-36 in conference, and missed consecutive NCAA tournaments for the first time since I was born in 85-86. Overall, Lee was 242 and 136, good for a 64% winning percentage, and in conference, 102 and 86, good for a sub 55% winning percentage in the ACC. So that's where it is, man. That's where it stands right now. It looks like Clemson's got their new guy, and it looks like it is going to be Eric Bakich from the University of Michigan, who was in the regionals this year before getting bounced. That's a good pickup. I don't hate it. Michigan's been consistently good. The Big Ten's a pretty good baseball conference. I don't know that I'd say they're quite as good as the ACC. Certainly not as good as the SEC, at least not this year. So that'd be a good pickup for Clemson. We'll take a look at the background of Bakich further as we progress. Again, it is not a done deal. This is not a signed contract at this point, but we could have an announcement later today. If that announcement happens today, we will announce it as quickly as possible on our Twitter feed and on our Facebook page at thefanupstate.com. Let's take a break. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line says, honorary mention to the fictional football team for Peter Griffin. I can't do a Griffin laugh, but you know what I was going for. Who played for the Patriots for a game and also sang a spectacular little song and dance number while doing it. Shaboopy, shaboopy. That's a Family Guy reference, which is why Lonzo looks so confused.
I know Family Guy. I know Stewie. I know all those guys. Yeah. I haven't watched a ton of episodes, but I've watched some.
Family Guy's still on the air. I was watching Family Guy in college, like first year of college.
The first episode I ever watched, we were at the beach. The only TV station we could get was in Spanish for some reason, and it was him fighting a chicken, all in Spanish.
Man. Yeah. That's the greatest rivalry in television. Peter versus the giant chicken. Quick break. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
You see.
Be right back, Stream. Got to do a live. All right, we're back, kids. Steven bringing in Tweeter. I call it the new Tweeter end zone dance. Great moment. Great movie. I never watched Blue Mountain State. I had a lot of people tell me that Blue Mountain State was really, really good, really entertaining, really funny, but I never watched Blue Mountain State. I will have to go back and watch it. I've heard it's fantastic. I just never got into it. I don't know why.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español. Gracias, Babel. Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. Just go to babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's babbel.com. BABBEL.com.
Wonderful product. I've lost 111 pounds using that product. 111 pounds. You could not believe the difference. I went from a 48 pant to a 33 pant, and I've maintained that now for over almost a year now. Yeah, absolutely. Andrew 400 has helped me lose 111 pounds. I've maintained my weight for almost a year now.
Thanks, James, for that inspiring testimony and 111 good reasons to choose Andro 400. The most effective and natural way to lose body fat, increase libido, gain energy, strengthen muscle while safely boosting your testosterone levels. So guys, how many reasons do you need for trying Andro 400? Well, here are 2 more great reasons. Order now and get free shipping plus an additional $6 off when you use the code SAVE6. That's SAVE6. Call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435 or go to andro400.com. Andro400.com.
Find the baseball coverage you need on the Odyssey app.
Game analysis, interviews, reactions, and recaps. Odyssey's got them all.
Tips to help you make better bets.
We've got them with the BetQL network.
Official MLB podcasts for every single team.
Got them with Locked On Sports and a lot more.
Get everything you need for baseball season with the biggest in baseball broadcasting on the Odyssey app.
Listen at home, at work, or on the go.
Sure, I can tell you all about why you should buy a pool from Aqua Blue Pools. There are lots of reasons, like they've been in business satisfying customers since 1977. They were awarded Best Pool Builder of the Year by voters in Greenville News. Their design specialists go through extensive training on design and construction, and they have a huge selection and incredible financing options. But I don't need to tell you all that. All you need to know is that pools are a blast. And the very best way to get one is from Aqua Blue Pools. Go to aquabluepools.com.
This report is sponsored by Dairy Queen. Hey, DQ fans, make this Father's Day one to remember with the DQ cake. Treat him to a fudge and crunch center and layers of DQ soft serve because the big guy deserves it. And so do you. Order yours today. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Good to have you guys. I'm Rob. He's the great one, Lonzo. Appreciate you spending some time with us. A couple of things that I wanted to get into, but I've got to get this story in because it's like so ridiculous. It's funny to me. Zach Collier is a 27-year-old U.S. history teacher who lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He is a Texas A&M alum and was scheduled to sing the national anthem in Omaha, Nebraska at Texas A&M's opening game. I'll give you the full Omaha schedule, which begins on Friday, coming up here in a few minutes. Anyway, he was scheduled to sing the national anthem at an A&M game in Omaha. But he posted a picture of a letter that he received that is supposed to be from the NCAA and the College World Series of Omaha, Inc., the company that runs the College World Series. said it was contacted by the NCAA, and the NCAA asked the College World Series of Omaha, Inc. to not allow Zach Collier to perform the national anthem at the World Series. Now, Zach Collier is known around the Dallas-Fort Worth area for performing the national anthem at sporting events. He has done so at multiple Texas A&M sporting events when he lived in College Station. He has performed for the Houston Astros. He has performed for the Texas Rangers and other organizations around the Dallas-Fort Worth and College Station areas. They asked him not to perform the national anthem because of behavior that they described as, quote, offensive, end quote. Now, you know, I have told you guys in the past, I think a lot of you guys are caught up in the boogeyman of cancel culture and not recognized that there are societal repercussions for your words and actions. You have the right to say whatever you want. Other people have the right to make decisions about you based on whatever you say and do. Like it or not, that's the world we live in. The offensive and inappropriate gesture that got Zach Collier canned from performing the national anthem, Lonzo, is he threw the upside down Texas logo. That's what he did. He is a Texas A&M fan.
I'm waiting for this to be uber political or something like that.
I know.
And that was a good setup. And that's all that was.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yep. At a Texas A&M game, his alma mater, at a Texas A&M game, post-performing the national anthem while walking off the field, as I understand it, Zach Collier took the hook 'em horn sign and turned it upside down, which has become pretty much the go-to mocking gesture of anybody playing the University of Texas, right? Texas spends every year telling us how they're back. They're back. Texas is back. The Longhorns are back, baby. And they spend every year not being back. So this year, as Aggies are wont to do, and by the way, Texas A&M is a cult, Zach Collier, after performing an A&M national anthem, took the hook 'em horn sign and flipped it downwards. Well, the University of Texas is especially sensitive about the down horns logo. The NCAA sent the College World Series of Omaha, Inc., quote, documented proof that he made offensive gestures and mockery of a participating team, and we do not feel comfortable allowing him to perform, end quote, from their letter. Hey, Lonzo, you think if I do this in front of the webcam, we're going to get booted off of YouTube for making offensive gestures?
We might. Depends on who's watching right now. It's a possibility.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen, that the Longhorn Network is a massive money-making outlet for ESPN. ESPN has, for years, been in bed with the NCAA. Both of them utilize each other to up their own bottom line and profit margin. I'm not mad at that. I know college football, college baseball, college basketball, they are businesses. And the outlets that broadcast them are also businesses. So it's a bit of a conspiracy theory.
Do you get paid if someone asks you to do the national anthem? Do you actually get paid to do the national anthem?
I do not know. I don't think so.
So he got uninvited for doing that. That's like a badge of honor for him, isn't it?
I mean, for me, it would be.
Doesn't that make him more of a hero at his alma mater?
I'm going to go ahead and straight up tell you, if I am Zach Collier, if I am the 27-year-old Zach Collier, and I'm living in Dallas-Fort Worth, and I was expecting to sing the national anthem for my alma mater in their first College World Series baseball game, and then I get this letter that goes, flashing the downward horns is such a mockery of the University of Texas. By the way, it's not. But flashing the downward horns is such a mockery of the University of Texas that they boot me from performing the national anthem at one of the biggest sports spectacles in the United States. I am immediately, Lonzo, buying a ticket to every single College World Series game from the opener on Friday afternoon until the national championships final pitch. And I am finding the ESPN cameras, and I am sitting in front of them, and I am holding up the downward horns every pitch, every game from pitch one until the trophy is awarded. I am going downward horns in front of every camera in that building like the petty SOB that I am. Are you kidding me? Here is what got said. An NCAA spokesperson confirmed yesterday that Collier's appearance was canceled after, quote, the incident, end quote. Quote, the performance in the national anthem during NCAA championship events is a solemn moment for reflection and mutual respect for all championship participants and fans in attendance. Following his national anthem performance during the Women's College World Series, during which the performer inappropriately supported one participating team, taunted the other team, and disrupted participating student athletes and coaches by attempting to interact with them, he was asked not to perform during the Men's College World Series. Collier said the extent of his interaction with any of the players was saying hello to an Oklahoma State player standing next to him at home plate, speaking for a mutual friend, and that the player said hello in return. He did say a Texas assistant mentioned to, quote, keep those horns up, end quote, but he laughed and walked off afterwards, end quote, according to the ESPN report on this. Collier said he's surprised by the reaction, said he considers his gesture part of the array of hand signs for Texas schools like A&M Texas or Texas Tech. As a result, he said his issue with the NCAA considered the horns down offensive. He said, quote, absolutely not. I believe it's part of the rivalry. It's part of college sports. I don't believe the horns down is any more offensive than a gig 'em or a hook 'em or a wreck 'em, end quote. My goodness, NCAA. Are you kidding me? Horns down is a mockery, offensive, and an insult. I mean, I guess.
Do you think the NCAA enforcement division sent him the letter? I'm just curious.
Listen, I've been to a lot of rivalry games, yeah? I've been to Clemson, South Carolina now. Very happy to be there. I've been to Florida, Florida State. I've been to LSU, Alabama. I've been to Alabama, Auburn. I've been to FSU, Miami. I've been to a lot of college football rivalry games. And I promise, with a capital PROMISE, I promise that I have seen college football hand gestures turned into far more offensive things than horns down. Do you know how much fun I have seen Florida fans have with the tomahawk chop by taking their open hand and curling their fingers around? Do with that information as you will. Do you know how much fun I saw Clemson fans have with the cocky hand gesture that South Carolina fans do? This is the kind of stuff. Listen, college sports are petty, and I am for it, man. I am for it. Petty makes rivalry fun. Petty is why rivalries are great in college athletics. But to boot my guy from singing the national... Look, if the affiliations of the performers matter, then why would you book an Aggie to sing the national anthem at an Aggie game? What do you think he's going to do? If having a college football / baseball fan in attendance is a thing you want to do, why are you then going to be like, oh yeah, but by the way, don't do any of the things that show you're a fan of that you? Well, then just get another guy. You're in Omaha, Nebraska. It is not a small town. I'd be willing to bet that in some backwoods bar in Omaha, Nebraska, there's a good old country bar with a good old country boy and a good old guitar that'd be willing to come out and play some six string and give you a beautiful rendition of the national anthem. But instead, you decided to bring an Aggie to where the Aggies are playing, but you expect him not to be an Aggie? Well, then bring in a Clemson guy to sing it. They're not there. Bring in a Gamecock guy to sing it. They're not there. Bring in a Gator fan to sing it. They're not there, right? If you are going to have a fan show up and tell me that horns down is the equivalent to flipping the bird, which, by the way, stop getting mad at that. It's silly. All right? But if you're going to tell me that flipping the horns down is the equivalent to flying the old double bird at the Longhorns bench, which, by the way, he did not do that, I don't know. I got nothing for you. Like, this is dumb, man. This is why nobody likes you, NCAA. This is why nobody likes you. This is why nobody supports you. This is why everybody wants you to go away. Because of dumb boat like this. Take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Team USA Soccer last night fights to a 1-1 draw with El Salvador on the road. And listen, the scoreline's not great. I wanted a dub. I wanted the full 3 in the Nations League, right? But I also do not think, as much as I am a fan of boating on Greg Berhalter, it is not a time to flat out panic if you are the Americans. And I'll tell you why when we come back. I'm Rob, he's Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Oh, I do believe you.
I apologize for not talking too much stream, but I can't breathe.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate, wrapping up hour number 1 here on the radio broadcast. Robin Lonzo with you. So Team USA yesterday evening had one of their final tune-up matches, before they head to Qatar in November for the World Cup. They'll have a couple of friendlies coming up in September. Those are going to be against European teams. But you'd like to think that the last 2 matches of the World Cup exhibition season would predominantly be your starting 11, your World Cup starting 11, and a bunch of extra time for the guys you know are going to be relied on as subs in the World Cup to get your team right, to get your squad right, to get your tactics right, to get your formations right, to get your timing right, to get your chemistry right. That's what you'd like for it to be. So these last few matches, even though they are Nations League games, you would like to think of the last trialist matches, right? The last opportunity for guys to prove that they deserve a spot on the team. The last opportunity for guys to show that they are in good form as they head to Qatar, etc. Last night, American soccer fans, I think, were somewhere between mildly and wildly disappointed by a 1-1 draw against El Salvador. The Americans needed Jordan Morris to come off the bench and score a stoppage time goal in the 91st minute to save a 1-1 result. Greg Berhalter made 7 changes from last weekend's 5-0 route of number 170 Grenada. Inserted Ethan Horvath into goal. Also added Tyler Adams, Yunus Musa, Brennan Aronson, Christian Pulisic, and Tim Weah, as well as Haji Wright into the rotation, which is fine. We know Pulisic is going to be a big part of this. We assume Yunus Musa is going to be a big part of this. You need to find out who the number 1 keeper is going to be. And it was Ethan Horvath's time to get an opportunity, although I will say the goal that he surrendered last night was embarrassingly bad. I mean, awful bad. Dramatically off his line, and he just got beat by a goal that any top-quality keeper needs to stop. Berhalter did bring on Weston McKennie to replace Aronson. Brought on Jesus Ferreira, who, again, I think is trying to make his mark as the true number 9 for the Americans. He scored 4 in the last match. He brought him in for Haji Wright because Haji Wright just couldn't do a whole heck of a lot. Paul Arriola did come off the bench in replacement for Weah, who left the field looking very frustrated, which makes sense. Had a couple opportunities that he got a couple of fouls that did not get registered. Weah looked frustrated, so they changed out Arriola. Arriola did not last long as the FC Dallas man was shown a straight red for a hard-sliding challenge right in front of the referee, moved the U.S. down to 10. Now, El Salvador did pick up a Ronald Rodriguez red card that moved them down to 10 after he straight American football tackled Yunus Musa, who had a clear path to the goal. the match would finish 10v10. Luca Del Torre picked out fellow substitute Jordan Morris in the penalty area, and the man from the Seattle Sounders was able to rise up above his defender, put a beautiful, beautiful headshot down towards the back left corner of the net, and it went in to go level. Now, American soccer fans last night, including myself, were very unhappy. All right? Very unhappy. The Americans were out of sort. The backline once again found themselves giving away way too many runs down the left and right wing, setting up good crosses. The El Salvadorians had more opportunities than they did goals. But I also want to say this. CONCACAF is freaking weird, man. Like, it is weird. And it just, every now and then, you have what we call a CONCACAF game. Just a game that it finishes and you look at it and it makes so much not sense that you just go, CONCACAF. It's weird stuff happens. First off, the Americans started that match wearing all white. They ended that match with not a spot of white to be seen because the field they played on was hot garbage. All right? Now, I get it. It had been raining, and it had been raining most of the day, and even during the match got to rain pretty damn hard. But that field was an absolute mud pit. It was a mud pit. It was nowhere near the quality of field that the Americans will play on in November in Qatar, right? It was a mud pit. The ball was sluggish. The ball was slow. And one thing that does is takes away from the speed of the game. That gave the El Salvadorians a bit of an edge. The Americans could not send guys screaming down the left and right encounters. Could not send guys with the ball to break open the middle of the pitch and open up the wings for attacks. It negated the biggest advantage we had over the El Salvadorians. That is to say, our speed. We could not send guys down the middle. We could not send Haji Wright. We could not send Jesus Ferreira. We could not send Christian Pulisic on runs down the sides, down the wings, or up the middle because the ball, when you kicked it, it rolled 8 feet and then came to a dead stop in a layer of caked-on mud. It was bad. You could see the mud flying off the ball every time a player touched it.
Sounds like fun to me.
I mean, as like Turkey Bowl, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, family, friends, soccer out in the back mud patch goes, it would have been a blast.
I think that's when your true skill comes to play. I mean, when you're out there in harsh conditions.
I disagree. It'd be like me standing on the baseball hill and throwing you a marble, and if you can't hit it going, oh, I guess you can't really play, can you? No, this is not the game. It's fun for a one-off. It's fun in the way that a water slide
what
is
you're
fun.
saying is it's soccer, it's not football. It might as well be baseball. You don't want them to play in harsh conditions.
Correct.
Okay.
Or at least not, I don't care if it rains, but have a quality
well,
field to play on.
when it rains, there's going to be mud.
Ugh, it was bad. No, and again, it was bad. Not like, okay, it rained, there's going to be a little mud. I mean, it was a mud pit. There were large patches of the field that there was not a blade of grass to be found. It was bad. But there was one positive in this game. Granted, I wish they would not have needed to show it against El Salvador. But this American team was vicious last night. Vicious. They wanted to fight everybody. Every time there was hard contact, every time there was a foul, there were dudes shoulder charging dudes. There were dudes grabbing jerseys and throwing to the ground. And I'm not talking about like, soccer where I grab the label in your shirt on your jersey and a dude goes flying to the ground like he'd been sniped. I'm talking about grabbing and throwing to the ground in a way that Tony Baselli would have been proud of.
Well, when you play in a game, I played in a football game like that. So when you play in a game like that and you're down in that mud, it's really hard to get back up. So if you're slinging a guy down, it's going to take him a little bit longer to get back up, and it gives you a little more time to get the ball in the net.
It was a fight. They knew what they were doing. It was a fight. There were shoulder charges. When I say tackles, I'm not talking about sliding and taking the ball. I'm talking about shoulder charge, knocking a dude into the dirt, like helmet sticker caliber hits. It was a viciousness to the point of recklessness in many cases. But it was as vicious of an attitude as I have ever seen out of the American soccer team. It was something else. It was something else. This team was angry. This team had fight. This team was ready to fight. And I'm glad to see it. I need that attitude, right? The Americans know going in that you are not the most talented team in the group. That's England. You are, on paper, the second most talented group, but you are not the most talented side in the group. In order to get by England, certainly to get by Wales and Iran, you have got to push the issue. You have got to aggravate them. You got to Draymond Green them, is what you got to do. You got to do what the Warriors did to the Celtics in Game 4. Push them around, throw them around. You got to do what the Celtics did to the Warriors in Game 3. Body them. Knock them to the ground. Get in their heads. Because if I can get that left mid, who is a distribution point for your offense, to instead of focus on, okay, we got the ball, now's my chance to break a run for a counter and get a long through ball and set it up. If instead I can get him focused on me, where am I, so I can give him a little something back? I might take a couple of extra hits. I might get popped a little bit more. But you are not focused on your game. And if you want to beat England, that's a good way to do it. That team had fight. That team had anger. That team had aggression. And I was very glad to see it. But in those last couple of friendly exhibitions, before we get to Qatar, now I need to show me you know how to play football. Now I need you to show me you know how to run an offense, that you've got a striker who can finish. We have not been able to finish goals in the last 3 matches, with the exception of playing one of the worst teams in world soccer in Grenada. Show me you know how to finish. Show me you know how to run an offense. Show me you know how to space, how to have position. Show me back line that you know how to eliminate threats. Show me front line that you know how to create and earn set pieces. Show me you know how to execute those, right? Because you didn't really do it last night. Now, again, I'm going to let a little bit slide. Why? Because the players were sliding everywhere on that garbage fire of a pitch they played on. I like the aggression. I like the anger. If you did not watch it and you're like, oh, soccer's for sissies, go watch that game last night. Watch the boys. They were throwing dudes around, and it was great to see. But show me in the last two, you know how to play soccer before we go to Qatar. All right, coming up in the next hour of the show, I got a lot more to get into. We now know Ozzy Albies is out for at least 60 days, probably more. I'll tell you how that impacts the Braves. Got a super mega ultra big time NHL Stanley Cup preview as game 1 is set tonight. Not just a regular preview, Lonzo, a super mega ultra preview. Tell you who I think takes this cup home when we come back. I'm Rob. He's coughing. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. You're right over there, buddy. Be right back, stream. Hang on.
both there at once. Because if you hear voices, the voices are always there. Just some of them don't speak. Thank you, Seb. I will eventually. It's just allergies. The allergy medicine that I found that actually works makes me very loopy and sleepy, so I cannot use it at work. So I will suffer through the next few hours. I will go home, take the medicine, and sit there and just go in and out of sleep all day. And hope I recover before Saturday, because then there's a problem. Although Cameron and T2 got into a heated argument last week, so maybe they can do that again. I don't remember what it was about. That's to the point where I haven't had those kind of arguments in a while. Chris and Patrick used to have those to the point where I finally had to stop it on occasion. Like, okay, that's enough. Let's move on.
Oh. Okay.
Back corner, I would think. Oh, so close.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. What's up, South Carolina? Hello, America. What up, world? Great to be with you again. I am Rob Brown. Howdy, y'all. The most energetic and the award-winning Rob Brown Show goes now. Lonzo, that is offensive. Stop it. Lonzo in here giving the most offensive, mocking, and immoral of hand gestures to me, ladies and gentlemen. It's unbelievable that you have the lack of shame, Lonzo, that you would do that publicly. Unbelievable.
Actually, I was just imitating my high school quarterback was missing a couple fingers. He was actually missing. He had like nubs in here, but he had these three. So
listen, of the stories you have told me from your childhood, that is one of the more believable ones.
I haven't thought of that guy in a long time. I wonder how he's doing. I should look him up on Facebook.
See if he needs a hand with anything.
That's just messed up. But yeah, maybe.
He played on his throwing hand?
Yeah, his dad was the starting head coach until my senior year. So yeah,
He was missing fingers on his throwing hand.
yeah, it was on his throwing hand. Yeah.
Was he any good?
I will tell you, my cousin.
You were a run option team.
My cousin, we didn't win a lot. My cousin, who was the center, a couple times had to ice his midsection because when the ball was hiked, there wasn't some fingers to block the impact of the ball on the midsection, and so my cousin got hurt quite a bit when the when he hiked the ball a little bit too hard. He racked himself because the fingers weren't there to stop the ball from, because the fingers will, take some of the impact off of that. Don't think that we didn't make fun of him about that. The color blue came to mind quite a bit for some reason.
That story's nuts, Lonzo.
Yes, it is, isn't it? But absolutely true.
My God. What is happening right now?
I'm sorry, I'm not feeling well. You never know what's going to happen.
Just got this via the old email. Per Clemson University, a press conference is set to be held tomorrow at 2 p.m. to introduce the new Clemson baseball coach. It's going to take place at Dun Kingsmore Stadium Thursday, tomorrow, 2 o'clock. I may drive down for that. I may head on down for that. We'll see. But a new baseball coach. And as we said earlier, I expect that new baseball coach is going to ultimately be Eric Bakich, head coach of the University of Michigan, and it would look like I'm going to assume it's Bakich, considering the fact that he has been listed as the front runner, and the fact that we have seen multiple reports come out that Graham Neff was going to make the offer to Bakich as early as today. It looks like Bakich may have gone ahead and accepted that. The Wolverines were in the regionals this year, took Louisville to a final game before getting bounced by the Cardinal. 34-28 this year. They earned the Big Ten's automatic berth in the NCAA tournament, won their first 2 games before Louisville rallied for the championship. Bakich is a San Jose, California native, played at ECU, began his coaching career, however, at Clemson way back 20 years ago in 2002. Also spent time as an assistant at Vanderbilt for 6 years from 03 to 09, and then coached at Maryland before going to Michigan in 2013. He has been there ever since. He was the National Coach of the Year in 2019 after leading the Wolverines to 50 wins and a runner-up finish at the College World Series. That's a good hire. That's a good hire. Guy that has success, and guy that has success at a big-time program with high expectations. That's what you're looking for. Because Clemson has high expectations. Clemson demands better than being 64% overall winning percentage and 54.3% conference winning percentage. That's not good enough. I do not care if you play in the ACC. I don't care if you play in the SEC. A 54% winning percentage is not going to get it done. Not at a program like Clemson, right? There are very few jobs where you're going to get the job done 50% of the time and keep that job. The one exception is Major League Baseball hitter. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much the list, right? If you hit 50%, you're a Hall of Famer. If you win 50%, you are not. So it made sense that Monty Lee was let go after coming over from the College of Charleston. 64% out of conference, 54% in it. Not good enough. Bakich has a better overall record than that. Bakich has been good at Michigan. Has a 50-win season under his belt. Has multiple regionals, a couple of super regionals, a College World Series runner-up position. That's a good hire. I like it. I like it for the Tigers. That's a good hire. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. We'll see what that press conference says. I'll have some more numbers for you about Bakich on tomorrow's show, and I cannot promise, but I will try to get down there for that press conference tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I'll get off the air and see if I can run out of here and head down to Clemson for that and get some sound for you guys. Suffice to say, I like the pickup. It's a good one. All right, we'll talk more about that again tomorrow on the radio broadcast. A few more things that I wanted to get in here on today. Go with this. Stanley Cup, Game 1 tonight of the finals. Set to go this evening, 8 o'clock in the nighttime. We will get game number 1. Tampa Bay could become the first three-peat champion since the Islanders won their third of 4 consecutive back in 1982. Colorado, on the other hand, is trying to earn its third cup in franchise history. They have not won one since 2001. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be fun. I had a conversation yesterday with P1 Keegan, one of our go-to guys. And he said, dude, I feel like the Stanley Cup playoffs have been going on for like 3 months now, right? And it does feel that way, which is good. It's good. That's awesome to me. I think that's great. I think that is great. And I think it is great because it tells you just how good the Stanley Cup playoffs are. First and foremost, I'm not even talking about on the ice. Though on the ice, there have been some really, really good series. There have been a couple of really bad ones too. Like Colorado's Western Conference sweep to win in. But you put that in contradiction to the Eastern Conference Finals, where Tampa Bay went down 2 games to the Rangers and then were 4 straight to get back in it. But those 4 straight were damn good hockey games. Gut-out hockey games. They weren't like blowouts, right? Well, like Tampa was taking these things 3-0. These were OT games. These were golden goal games. And it was fantastic. But hockey and college baseball, I've said this a number of times. I believe college baseball has the best postseason in all of sports. You need to watch the College World Series starting Friday. But hockey's is right there with it. Why? Because the Stanley Cup formats their playoff series the best way possible, right? They don't stack 3 games in a day, 1 game in a day, take a couple of days off. No. It is games every damn night for about 3 weeks. There is no let up in the action. I don't think it's too much, right? I don't. The teams all get their time off to rest and relax and regroup. The fans, on the other hand, are hit with hockey consistently, and it's all playoff caliber. It's been spectacular. Now, about this series. We'll start. We talked with Kyle Sullivan of the Locked On Podcast Network yesterday. I'll have that article posted after the show. I got it edited last night, but just could not. My stupid internet connection at the house was giving me problems. But I'll have Kyle Sullivan's podcast posted right after the show today, and it was a good one. Biggest thing going for Colorado. They have a great problem to have, and that is to say that Darcy Kemper and Pavel Francouz have both been really good. Darcy Kemper was the guy that got them into the playoffs, but then he got an upper body injury and he had to sit. Pavel came in. Pavel was hot. There's a good question for both of these guys to start. Francouz has had the hot hand, and when a guy is confident inside the strings, inside the post, when a guy is confident, it's tough to beat him. It's tough to beat him. Now, it's not to say that it can't be beat. It's not to say that you can't eventually chip away at him and then start finding goals. But the good news is for the Avs, if the Lightning can do that, if Stamkos and Kucherov and I think Braden Point is going to be back. From what I understand, Braden Point will be available for the Lightning in the Stanley Cup Finals. If these guys can start chipping away at Pavel, then Darcy's right there ready to go. And he's rested. So he's not playing on fatigued legs. He is rested, he is ready, and he was really good. He is the reason that the Avalanche were the 1 seed coming into this. So, you know, it's the best problem to have in hockey is which one of our 2 really good goalkeepers do we put in front of the pipes? Which one of our really 2 keepers do we let go? Colorado has been really good. In fact, before the Stanley Cup playoffs started, the head coach of, I want to say Edmonton, it was either Edmonton or Calgary, I can't remember, but one of them, said that whatever team draws Colorado in the first round might as well stay home. Said it is a waste of time and energy to play the first round against Colorado because they're that good. And that fired up the Nashville Predators, right? Because they got told, you might as well stay home. You might as well not even show up. Well, they might as well have stayed home and not showed up because they got swept in the opening round, and that prophecy came to light. They have been good. They just execute. There's no quit. Colorado, whether you're talking about Cam Makar, 22 points in 14 games, Nathan McKinnon, 18 points, there have been a lot of factors. Artturi Lehkonen has showed up, leads that team, not even the team's leading scorer, but he is the team's leading scorer in game-winning goals, in clutch goals, in ice water in the veins goals. J.D. Compher, when Colorado needed a boost, has come up with some big hits, some big defensive takeaways, and a couple of goals to boot. This team is good, and this team is deep. That's going to be the Lightning's biggest problem. The Avs' second line is as good as a lot of other NHL teams' first lines. Their second line would be a playoff caliber first line. They're that good. Tampa, on the other hand, has maybe the best goalkeeper in the NHL in Andrei Vasilevsky. The guy is one of the greatest, not just postseason goalkeepers of all time, though he is, but one of the greatest goalkeepers we've ever seen. Now, he did have a rough opening round against the Maple Leafs, and a lot of people were asking, did he hit the line, right? Did he hit the wall? Has he aged out of being one of the best? Since then, a 94% save percentage, a goals against average of 1.81 at 5-on-5 in the last 10 games. He has a 95.5 save percentage over the last 4 games of his series against the Rangers. I said earlier in the segment, a 50% success rate at your job will get you fired. A 96% success rate will get you promoted to your boss's boss. That's really good. Guy has been insanely clutch. But what the Lightning cannot match the Avalanche with in terms of depth, the Lightning can match the Avalanche in terms of experience. Steven Stamkos, 15 points. Nikita Kucherov, 23 points. Victor Hedman, 14 points. All 3 of these guys have put an absolute mark on these playoffs, and that is not adding guys like Palat, who had 2 game-winning goals against the Rangers to tip the series. We talked about Vasilevsky. You cannot understate how important this guy is. And this team has been really good on the power play. They have been really good shorthanded. They are PK monsters. You are not going to get a lot of power play goals. In fact, I think I think in the first 2 games, most of the Rangers' goals in very competitive games came on power plays. As soon as the Lightning settled down and disciplined themselves and stopped giving away power plays, the Rangers stopped scoring entirely. There are other names that have not gotten talked about. Mika Zibanejad was all but taken out by the Lightning. Why? Because the front 3 of the Lightning are able to slow down the best on your team. Nathan MacKinnon is good, but the Lightning have already shown that they can remove stars from games. They can focus on a star, take away his impact, and make the other guy beat you. Now, that doesn't set up great for the Avs. For the Lightning, against the Avs. It doesn't set up great because the Avalanche, as I mentioned, have a second line that is a first line on a lot of other playoff teams. Which means that Tampa Bay's defensive efforts are going to have to be doubled if they want to win this series. And that is the only reason that I am leaning Avs. However, the one thing that makes me cautious is the return of Brayden Point. 4 points in 7 games before he got injured in that Game 7 against the Maple Leafs. He has been slowly working his way back to health. The plan was to try to work him in late in the series against the Rangers, but he just did not get back. Now, I don't know if he didn't get back because the Lightning had a ton of faith that they were going to get past New York and they wanted to save Brayden Point for the Stanley Cup Finals, or if Brayden just simply was not ready. I lean the latter. My bet is the latter. But Brayden Point is one of the best two-way players in the NHL. He has more goals in the postseason over the past 3 years than any other player. He is the biggest X factor of the series. If Brayden Point can come back and be on point, pardon me, he can equalize Nathan MacKinnon. And now it's up to Stamkos and Kucherov to go level with the other guys on the floor for the Avs. If he can do that, if Brayden Point can do that, can equalize Nathan MacKinnon, the Lightning have a very good chance. Very good chance. I am leaning Avalanche but I am leaning Avalanche in 7. It is hard to bet against Tampa. They have the experience. Nerves will not be a factor for them because they've been here. They've done this. They've been around the block twice, as a matter of fact. Whereas the Avs have not been to a Stanley Cup in, 19 seasons? This is new to these guys. The Lightning have been here. They've had their backs against the wall in the championship series, and they've come out twice victorious. But the Avs are as good of a lineup as we have seen put together in a very long time. The Avs are as good of a lineup as we have seen from front to third line as we have seen. The Lightning have not played an opponent, I don't believe, as good as Colorado, and they've had some screamers so far. The Avs win, but it is going to take them all 7 to do it because the Lightning are not going to lay down. They are not going to go away. They're not going to panic. They're not going to find themselves down a game and freak out. And they're good. They're not as deep as Colorado, but that front line is absolutely toe-to-toe good as Colorado. So if the front line for the Lightning, if the front line can be +1 in goal differential against the Colorado front line, Tampa's got a chance. But I'll take the Avs in 7. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line says, Rob, the Avs are excellent. However, I think their defense may be suspect. They gave up way too many goals against Edmonton in times when they had the game in hand. Yeah, but you gotta agree, though. Go back and look at that Edmonton-Calgary series, right? We had a game with 15 goals. That was one of the best skating offensive teams in the NHL. I don't know that on paper they had the overall talent that the Lightning have. But they certainly on paper had the average overall offense to match Tampa. The question's going to be, can Tampa outpace? Right? Tampa's got a better defense, but probably not as good as an offense, at least in the postseason alone. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, game 1 tonight, 8 o'clock. Make sure you tune in. We'll have a breakdown of that match tomorrow when we come back here in just a minute from right now. You know, I really hope we can stop talking PGA versus Live Tour and talk US Open, which tees off tomorrow. But Rory popped off again, and so did Jon Rahm. Short segment. I want to address those. Then Twitter to wrap it up. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo. And this is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
new Oreo dirt pie. On deck, the fan favorite Girl Scout Thin Mints. Summer standouts, drumstick with peanuts and cotton candy. And batting cleanup, it's you with your red spoon and 6 summer blizzard flavors. Official treat of MLB. All part of the new DQ All-Star Summer Blizzard lineup. DQ, happy tastes good.
We know the ever-present struggle of what am I going to make for dinner this week? That's why we started the Ingles Table. It's a website that brings the best chefs and food experts right into your kitchen. You can sort through hundreds of recipes for every occasion, watch how-to videos, and print shopping lists to take to the store. It's all waiting for you at ingles-markets.com. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
This report is sponsored by Dairy Queen. Hey DQ fans, make sure to cast your vote for the official combo meal of MLB at DQ.com. With Tim Anderson's Burger and Blizzard Meal and Bryce Harper's Burger and Blizzard Meal, you just have to try both. Vote for your favorite at DQ.com. Happy tastes good.
More than the scores.
All right, I was going to get to golf, but I came across a realization. I had a bit of an enlightenment during the break, Lonzo. It's that I don't want to, so I'm not going to.
I don't know if you knew this or not, and maybe let me enlighten you, but it's your show, and you can change on a whim.
I
You
did.
can do that.
I did. I feel bad about it because I said I was going to. And I know there's a bunch of golf guys that love talking PGA versus Live Tour. But instead I wanted to do this. Your college football team may not be quite what you want it to be, right? Maybe lacking the results that you're looking for, whether it's a divisional title or a conference title or, heck, maybe a national championship. But at least you're not Arizona State. What do I mean by that? Well, bit of a tumultuous offseason. There's an NCAA investigation going on to Arizona State. That investigation has led to the transfer of a number of top players. Multiple coaches have been fired. Arizona State has not won more than 14 games since 2014. And then they hired Herm Edwards. Now, I don't believe I was on the air when Herm got hired at Arizona State. I don't remember, or at least not here. I don't remember exactly when it happened. Mainly because when they hired Herm Edwards, I went, all right, cool. Arizona State it was 2017. It is no longer relevant to college football. How did I know that? Well, and by the way, humble brag, I've met Herm. Good guy. Nice guy. Easy to talk to. I've interviewed him. I've hung out with him. Nice guy. But I knew that the Sun Devils were in trouble. When Herm Edwards got hired to be the head coach at Arizona State, and apparently did not know who their mascot was. In his introductory press conference, Herm Edwards got asked by a reporter for the student paper, which, and I don't remember the exact name, but it was like Devils Online or something like that. It was like Devils Online, Devils Times. I don't remember exactly what it is. But basically, they dropped the Sun, so it was like Devils something. Anyway, Herm Edwards was asked in 2017 by Devil's Digest. That's what it was. Thanks, Texter. You know how that story's going. You know what, Zoe? Let me grab sound from this computer if you don't mind, because I've got the clip. No, can't do it. All right, no worries.
I mean, we can give it a shot, but if I recall, there's going to be feedback because of StreamYard.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Today, I feel like the luckiest man on the face of the earth. All right, you can cut that. I'm annoying. I don't need to hear me twice. Annoying enough the first time.
That was awesome. I was glad I was here for that.
Anyway, Herm took the job, and he got asked a question by a reporter for the Devil's Digest, which covers Herm's football team, the Sun Devils. Herm when the reporter introduced himself as an employee of Devil's Digest, responded with, Devil's Digest, where you located, my man? As if the reporter was going to go, hell, sir. We're the Devil's Digest.
So,
what did you expect?
So we
We're
don't
located in
know.
hell.
We don't know if Herm was joking. I mean, you know.
We do, because shortly after that, Herm said, Devils, I don't get down with that stuff, man. You got to watch out. Now, maybe Herm was joking. Like, maybe Herm was joking, right? But
Herm
maybe don't.
Herm has straight delivery. I mean, he's got straight
Right.
man delivery, so he could have just.
He may very well have been joking. But could you imagine the fervor? And I know that this is a bad comparison, but it's apt. Could you imagine if Mike Norvell got the job at Florida State? And this guy was like, yeah, hey, Mike, my name's Rob from Knowles Digest. And Mike was like, Knowles Digest? That's a pretty insensitive name, don't you think? But like, even if you're joking, not a great joke. Anyway, Herm was not a great hire. How do we know that? Because Athlon Sports does a series every year where they ask coaches to give a take on the other teams in their conference. And, ordinarily, the coaches are very kind, Like, oh, yeah, that team that was 6-6 last year, they're an up-and-coming team. Head coach has got them well organized, well disciplined. We've definitely got them on our radar this year, even though we beat them 30-0 last year. Definitely paying attention to that team. They're on their way up. That's a rising group of kids over there. Well, let me give you some dramatic interpretations of other coaches within Herm's own conference, typically known for, again, being very kind, for being very, gracious. Here are some quotes from other Pac-12 coaches about Herm Edwards' teams, giving in a dramatic style. This is the biggest dumpster fire in college football. It's absolutely mind-blowing that Herm is still employed, at least in the mind of the college coaching community. Everyone knows it's a ticking time bomb, but nobody knows if it will be a month or a year from now. End quote. Quote, they look like a mid-level SEC program when they get off the bus, and you start to see what they've been recruiting. Then you finish the game, and it's like playing a Mountain West Conference team. They are wildly inconsistent. They turn the ball over, and they make mental errors. It's all stuff that screams instability. We've played them when they are locked in and physical, and we've played them when they are just not interested in being there. End quote. Quote, the Herm plan isn't terrible, bringing the CEO head coach to work externally and let talented assistants coach, but they did not follow any of the rules. That model had to be adjusted from the NFL to college because there is way more to screw up here. End quote. And finally, actually, no, I got two more. I'm hitting them all because I love them. Quote, the program has the best chance of total implosion mid-season because there's no consistency anywhere. Not in the coaches, the head coach, or roster. It's a waste. This program is always good on paper, but fails to ever really win consistently. And this is another example of it. End quote. And finally, quote, it's embarrassing that Herm still has a job when some of those assistants are still unemployed and bearing the brunt of things that he directed. End quote. Here's the best part of it. Stephen Godfrey. Some of you may follow him on Twitter, at 38Godfrey. Stephen Godfrey assembles these pieces for Athlon every year. He put all of those quotes into his Athlon breakdown of the Sun Devils season upcoming. And then he sent it out as a tweet. That said, and I quote, I always like to remind readers, as a rule, I throw out the most positive and most negative comments. This is what was left for ASU. End quote. Your program may not be turning in the results that you want. Your program may not be cranking out the wins like you like them to. But at least your program, unless you are an Arizona State Sun Devils fan, does not have other Pac-12 coaches, does not have other conference coaches. Again, in a spot where they are usually, if not complimentary, gracious in their honest criticism. Does not have fellow coaches calling your team inept, a dumpster fire, and shameful. I got to tell you, Zoe, pretty happy to not be an Arizona State Sun Devils fan right now. Because reading coaches dropping those bombs on you, baby. Youch.
See, I'm curious how people talk about, let's say, Nick Saban. I mean, if you really hate the other school, I mean, maybe this is pretty negative, but I mean, you know.
You wonder how other people talk about Nick Saban except Jimbo Fisher.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, listen, the thing is, coaches might rip other coaches in private. I got $1 that says Jimbo ain't the only college coach in the Southeastern Conference who does not care for Nick Saban as a person. You know what we don't hear? Them saying that ever about any coach, even Lane Kiffin at the height of his internet trolling a few years back, whether it was at SC or Tennessee, even coaches didn't bust up Lane quite like this. They might have dropped a Joey Freshwater joke on him every now and then, but they did not bust up Lane like this. These are coaches from the Pac-12 calling that program a dumpster fire. Have you ever heard another coach call another program a dumpster fire with the exception of Jimbo?
See, my problem is I do have a little bias because Herm Edwards coached the Chiefs for a little while.
Sure.
He also was great on TV. So, and everyone talked about he's their friend and stuff. And you don't, when you're on TV, you don't have to do that. My friend this, my friend that. And everyone seemed to do that about Herm. Everyone genuinely liked him. And it's just, I think it's hard to believe that he could be that bad of a coach and a manager of a team to this degree. And it just, I don't know.
I don't find it that hard to believe at all. Herm was a decent NFL coach.
Yeah, right? He wasn't great.
Yeah, he was a decent NFL coach. This ain't the NFL. This is college. Lonzo is my friend, but Lonzo would not describe me as a great, I don't know, baseball player.
I've only seen one pitch, and the pitch was pretty good.
That's not fair, but that was a heater.
It was pretty good.
As a heater. Yeah. Lonzo would not okay, here, I'll give you an honest one. Lonzo would not compliment Rob's time management skills. See? He didn't even have a joke for it.
Yeah, you got me there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Does that mean that Lonzo doesn't like me? No. Does it mean Lonzo's not my friend? No. Does it mean Lonzo and I can't play video games together? None that are based on a timer.
We all have our weaknesses. That's true.
Yeah. Herm's not a good college football coach. That's not saying Herm's a bad dude. That's not saying Herm deserves whatever.
But it's easier to be critical of someone who's a jerk. It's easier to be critical of someone that you just don't like. It's hard to handle criticism of someone who you think appears to be a good guy.
But like the fact that everybody likes Herm, doesn't that make this criticism even more cutting? Like if these were levied at Lane Kiffin, you'd all be like, of course they said that about Lane. Lane is a troll. He's kind of a jerk. He's a very funny one on Twitter, but he's kind of a jerk. So it makes sense that guys would say bad things about him. But for the most part, I haven't really had anybody say anything bad about Herm. I can't. He came down and gave a speech at an organization I was a part of a number of years ago in Destin. I got to spend about 30 minutes with him. Nice guy. Engaged in conversation, unlike Nick Saban, who was completely detached. Unless he was giving the speech, he was just like there. Herm was not. Good dude. The fact that everybody likes Herm makes these criticisms even sharper to me. Makes them cut even a little bit more. At least your team does not have fellow conference coaches describing you as inept and a dumpster fire. And that last one was a direct quote. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll clean this bad boy up and hit Twitter trending topics on the way out the door. I want to remind you tomorrow at 9:30, Rashad Beard will join us. Busy week in Carolina football. So we'll talk about what all of it means with Rashad tomorrow. We've also got Fight Club tomorrow at 11:20. Unless Alonzo is still dying. We'll see. He's the great one. I'm Rob. This is the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. I shall count that.
As well as you should, because, you know.
Because it was one.
Yeah.
Rana, welcome in, buddy. Good to have you. Man, missed the panhandle. Crestview. Site of my first ever, well, I guess, first high school girlfriend was from Crestview, Florida. Her name was Crystal.
Okay, when you go first ever and you pause, it's
well,
like,
I had like
okay, what is this going to be exactly?
Girlfriend in middle school, you know.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
Middle school
yeah.
girlfriend doesn't really count. So my first girlfriend I went on dates with was from Crestview.
It might have counted for her. I mean,
maybe.
you know.
Wendy Jones was her name.
Wow.
By
the way, I looked up my friend who only had a couple fingers.
Does he still only have a couple fingers?
I can't find him.
Ah.
Yeah, so I know his dad died, and his dad was my coach. He died a couple years ago, but I cannot find his Facebook page, or I would have sent him a request just to prove to you. So where is Crestview?
Crestview is north of Fort Walton Beach, about 45 minutes. It's like Pensacola is the furthest west you can go. Well, I mean, you can drive the interstate, but like the furthest city west in Florida. Fort Walton Beach is the next city over. And then Crestview's due north of that, about 20 minutes shy of the Alabama-Florida northern border.
We're having a discussion on the way to the beach about how we hear a lot about South Carolina beaches. We hear a lot about Florida beaches, of course. We never hear anything about Georgia beaches. Are they that bad?
Georgia beaches?
Yeah.
I couldn't even name you a beach in Georgia.
Well, it's like in between South Carolina and Florida. I mean, so.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's got a lot of coastline, but I let's see, Planetware best 16 beaches in Georgia. Tybee Island, 18 miles southeast of Savannah. Cumberland Island.
Yeah, as you're saying these, obviously you've never heard of them before, neither
Jekyll
have I.
Island. I've heard of Jekyll
I've heard of Jekyll Island, yeah. But I didn't know that was a real place. I thought it was, from a video game.
Driftwood Beach. Now, Driftwood Beach, so Jekyll Island, a lot of people from Jacksonville drive up to Jekyll Island and Driftwood. Driftwood Beach is actually really cool. I've seen pictures of it. I haven't been there. But Driftwood Beach is covered in not pieces of driftwood, like full trees of driftwood. It's actually kind of rad. It's a very surreal looking place.
Okay, so why would I want to go there? Here's what the apocalypse is going to look like.
It's a really pretty place, and they have beautiful sunrises there. St. Simon's, I've heard of St. Simon's, never been there. St. Andrews Beach.
I've never heard about Georgia being a destination, a beach destination. That's all.
So, 4 of the beaches are all on Jekyll Island, and 2 of the other beaches are on Tybee Island. So, I feel like you're having to stretch here.
Yeah, because an island is, I guess, technically it's part of.
It's one big beach.
Yeah, but as an island's not a part of the actual landmass itself, so it's not. Okay.
you are eligible. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
So it's not necessarily a good Georgia beach. The islands just happen to be close to Georgia. So Georgia has to claim them.
I mean, I guess Georgia gets credit for it.
Steven says, don't do Orange Beach, Alabama. Okay. Is the beach actually orange? Because if it is, there's no way I'm going there.
What are you talking about, Steven? Orange Beach is beautiful, man.
Is it orange?
What happened? No, it's not orange. It's sugar white. It's just like Destin.
Okay.
It's the same beach as Destin.
I've only seen White Sands on
Talking about,
TV.
Steven. Oh, the OB is great, man. Why don't you like the OB? Something bad happened to Steven in the OB. Steven had a bad experience in the OB. All right, final segment of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Got a few more minutes before we get to Twitter trending topics. So I will say this. Where's the one thing? Oh, yeah. Let's hit this one more time on the way out. Reports coming out of the Queen City that the Panthers are back in trade talks for Baker Mayfield. Remember, about 3 weeks ago, they broke down. And they broke down because the Panthers were, rightfully so, asking the Browns to pick up a pretty solid percentage of Baker's salary this year. And it was predicated upon the trade of the more of his salary you are willing to pick up, the better the draft pick will be willing to trade for him. And the Browns effectively did not want to give Baker any money, which, by the way, kind of comes across as a little petty, doesn't it? Like, you desperately need to move this guy. You've got a team sitting there with a draft pick in hand, and all you got to do is come off like $7 million to give to this cat to go away. The fact that you're like, nah, not worth it. We don't want to give him another dollar. We will take well, they won't take, but the fact that the discussion was a lesser draft pick so that you don't have to give him a dollar sounds kind of ridiculous. Frankly, it sounds a little petty from the Browns, which, by the way, has a team ever, I don't know if the Saints even did this, right? And I know the Saints went from lovable losers, they won a Super Bowl, and they just kind of became like a de facto team that everybody rooted for a little while because of the Katrina story. And then when the Bounty Gate discussion started, everybody turned on New Orleans, right? Even they, I don't think, went quite from lovable loser status to maybe the most hated team in the National Football League right now, right? Not just because of Bake, but because of obviously everything going on with Deshaun as well. By the way, yes, I do know that Deshaun spoke to the media yesterday, and no, I don't really see a need to get into it. Because basically what he said was, I did not assault anybody. I did have sexual relations with a number of masseuses. I don't want to be a distraction. Like, all right, yeah, I guess. You said nothing. We know that. We know you had sexual relations with the masseuses. We know that it was wildly inappropriate. And we know you're a distraction. All right, cool, right? Like, say something or don't say anything. So that's why, for those of you that ask me, why haven't you gotten into Deshaun yet, is because he didn't say anything, right? Deshaun says all the things we already know, audio at 9. Nah, it's all right. I don't need to hear from him. Give me something from Roger or Jimmy Haslam or give me nothing. Anyway, it comes across as petty from the Browns, who have become likely the anti-America's team, the most disliked team in the National Football League, like in 3 months. It's pretty impressive, to be honest. Anyway, the Panthers are back in discussion to get a trade going for Baker Mayfield that would bring him to Carolina and I assume replace Sam Darnold. The only question there would be, would somebody want Sam Darnold as a backup on a 1-year contract? The answer is going to be no. You just got to roll with Sam's contract, let Baker come in, let Baker teach Matt Corral and see what happens. it's the right move for Carolina. Negotiate the price.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents.
Yeah, you were watching that clock closely. I really thought about hitting it early, but that would have been bad form. All right, just really quick. Seb said beef enters the chat. I'm a little disappointed that there isn't a beef Twitter account yet that just trolls Rob all day, telling him about his girl.
Freaking cookie. My goodness.
All right, the first thing is trend.
People who did not hear yesterday's show are like, what the hell are they on about now?
It's talking about beef.
It's talking about beef.
The first thing that's trending is Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce has become one of my favorite people in the NFL because not only is he a hell of a football player, but he seems like an absolute bro away from it. And not like Gronk's a bro, but like a bro you would enjoy being around for more than 22 minutes at a time.
Yeah, Gronk's a party bro. Kelsey's a guy that you could just hang with and not even say anything. Just hang out.
Gronk's the dude. Like, I would go on a Gronk party cruise. Don't get me wrong.
Gronk is going to do something stupid. Kelsey might, but he'll at least give you a little warning.
Gronk's the dude I could go on a 5-day Gronk party cruise with and have the time of my life. But when I got off that boat, I'd be like, I need a Gronk break. I need about 3 years away from this guy. Kelce seems like the dude you just play Madden with and have a couple of beers and be cool. I don't know why he's trending though.
All right, so it's funny you should throw those two together because one of those things is trending big time right now. Who is the best tight end in the history of the NFL? There are several people on that list, including Ditka and, of course, Kelce and Gronk. Tony Gonzalez is on there also.
I was going to say, Tigo's got to be on that list. I don't know.
I think Edwards from who was it from Denver? I think it was Edwards, or maybe I'm just blocking because I hate Denver.
Let's see, Gates would be on that list.
Gates, that's it. Antonio Gates. I don't know why I said it.
Jason Witten would be on that list for me.
I don't know. I don't think
Greg
you put
Olsen
Witten
go
on that
list.
I don't know. I really liked Olsen, but I don't know if you compare him to all those other guys.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jimmy Graham. I think Jimmy Graham was.
Jimmy Graham wasn't a tight end. He was a receiver.
Yeah. He wanted to get paid like a receiver. Just asked him. Vernon Davis played tight end for a little while. Kellen Winslow II. I'm a soldier. All right, what else we got?
I'm going to go with Gonzalez, by the way, but Kelce is quickly becoming that guy. The next thing is trending is Bailey.
Bailey, of course, still waiting. Is she coming back? Did she come back?
She is not back. No.
She is not back. Okay. I want her to come back. I miss Face Bailey. I really do.
Yeah, me too.
I miss Hug Life Bailey. Like, Karen Bailey was fun. I liked Karen Bailey at its onset. But, like, Face Bailey was just so good.
She was. And today is her birthday. She is 33 years old.
Happy birthday, Bay.
Yeah, come back.
Come back, Bay. We miss you.
All right, one more trending thing. Obi-Wan is trending.
Episode 5
today.
Dropped today. What do you think about 4? Nutshell.
It's that in-between episode to get you to the next thing, because you try to compare it to 3 and you don't want to do that.
The Vader scene was so damn good. It was a cool-off match, right? Like, it was a cool-off match before the main event.
Yeah.
It had to be. It was still good. I mean, it was intense.
You can't help but compare it to the episode
I mean, it was
that.
spy thriller, and I liked it. But after Vader.
Yeah, but young Leia, I think she stole that episode.
She's fantastic.
She is.
She's really good. Jim Rome comes up next in the Jungle Bark Ryan and Diesel take you off sides of 3. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back to try harder and do it all again tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later, brother. All right, stream. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it sincerely. We'll see you guys tomorrow.